let's talk about it. Arya, 0.5 in the watch list. One thing that is a little bit TBD, and we'll mention it a little bit later in this Prydwen review, is the emergence of the last Angels of Delusion Yu, who I think is going to shake up quite a bit on this list. Okay, so they gate kept him. Wellama, folks. Welcome back to the Prydwen tier list review. You guys know I love me some Prydwen tier list reviews. So let's take a look at the Prydwen tier list. I don't think too much has changed, to be honest, but you never know. Still a quick, cheeky little Prydwen tier list to see if our new Angels of Delusion has really shaked up anything in the meta. I think this is going to be a small one. I don't think there's going to be too much swings here, too many big swings. TBD. Look at our first impressions. And my first impressions are that nothing really has actually changed too much. We've moved Arya into 0.5, but is on the watch list of moving up into tier 0, depending on how she, functions out of her kind of shill phase, which, I understand a lot of characters have their shill phase when they initially enter into the game. And once that kind of wanes a little bit after, the first 2 patches or so, we'll see where Arya stacks up after that. So far, this list seems almost identical, with potentially the exception of Piper. I don't know if she had the partner tag before. Haramasa is low-key ready to move up. He is being watch listed. I'm surprised that Ellen is that low. I think tier 1's a respectable spot, to be honest. Like, I've always vouched for Ellen to be tier 1. I remember at some point they were tier 1.5 when they had a 1.5, right? They've since thus nixed this whole extra category, which is fine. Neither here nor there. But they drew the line in the sand to determine, if they're really going to be just tier 1 or just tier 2. And I get it. Let's start at the top and then make a drop as usual. Firstly, at the top, we have our 3 gals, the three-headed horse, the 3-headed Cerberus that is of attack, rupture, and anomaly. Yeshinguang, Yishen, and Miyabi. If you have them, I wouldn't say you necessarily just clear the game outright, but again, you still need teams around said characters, but it's a good start if you have these 3. Yeshinguang and Yishen still being a little bit more pushed just because Ether and Physical are just overarchingly more meta / more relevant in terms of elemental coverages in the later game stages, that being Shiyu, DA, and even Threshold Simulator, which is, increasingly the talk of the town. I don't want to diminish game modes that they've been trying to revamp, like Threshold Simulator, even though it's not the main 2. You never know. I think Threshold Simulator has a lot of potential, especially with its increasing, capacity to accommodate different teams, different archetypes. So I understand it's a very difficult mode to challenge, especially for those who only have like maybe 2 or 3 teams, 100%. But as we move into 3.0, as people get more and more units, I think there's a precedent for that game mode to be a little bit more highlighted. Regardless, those are the 3 main DPSs. Let's head over to the supports, and it's no surprise that, Astro Yao, Dialin, Lucia, Sunna, and Yuzaha top the charts. Just makes sense. They're incredibly relevant across the board, and even horizontally being able to cover multiple different niches. This is great. One thing that is a little bit TBD, and we'll mention it a little bit later in this Prydwen review, is the emergence of the last Angels of Delusion Yu, who I think is going to shake up quite a bit on this list, because not only her entry is going to be intriguing, but I think the enemies that come alongside with her will move up and down some units depending, because Nangong is just that relevant of a character that she can pull up a lot of units, but then because of that, some units might get left in the dust because they don't compete alongside Yu. So that's something to look out for. As soon as partner tag has been removed, thank you, Morning Goat. That's a good point there. As soon as tag has been removed, well, it's very evident that she is one of, if not the best attacker supports in the game. She's absolutely nuts. Yeshin Guang, right? One of the best supports for her. Arya, of course, is the idols pairing there. We've tested out a few of the ice teams like Ellen Joe. If you guys saw my latest DA guide, you guys might have seen me bring up one of the oldest units in the game. Not the oldest, but one of the older units in the game, Juyen. And Juyen can actually 3-star DA. Realistically, only possible with Sunna, mainly due to the Ether Veil shill buff. I get it, it's a shill buff, but apparently the next iterations of Deadly Assault are going to take that away. So opens up the field a little bit more to attackers, and thus Sunna also being able to support even more attackers. That's really, really freaking good. Also, as one of the characters to kind of rival Aster Yao's quick assist tempo, like, you know, surprise, surprise, Sunna goes to tier 0. 0.5, let's circle back to that really quickly. Hey folks, it's Post Edit Josh here to tell you about the sponsor of this video, LD Shop. Now, LD Shop has been gracious enough to provide us with some fun perks while we top up to 35% off of our favorite games. Almost any mobile game you play can be found here with bundles for bundles. Wait, that's kind of genius. And off of your first purchase, LD Shop wants to make you a customer for your gacha stay. So they're giving you a top up starting at 22%. All you need to do is take your ID, region, and enter your payment method, which they have it all, and boom. Yeah, you can't miss out on even more savings because I have an additional 15% off code if you use the link below with an extra 5% coupon for later. Take a look at the internet passes. They are $3.60 versus your regular $5. That money adds up, folks. Well, make sure to drop by LD Shop by clicking the link in the description for exclusive perks and discounts. And thank you to LD Shop for sponsoring this video. Orbital Squad units of Seed, Sambi, and Orphe end up in 0.5. This is, you know, pretty casual stuff. Yidhari, Banya, also being extremely potent, even though technically not meta breaking, but they are extremely potent and do incredibly well. That's why they're in the 0.5 tier. Evelyn, also a little bit more expert. You know, again, you do need to make sure that you're, you know, at least doing 6 chains within your stun, but again, has higher performance value. Alice, Aria, and Vivian show up in 0.5, and there's no question that Alice and Vivian are in 0.5, but it is curious to see where Arya teeters, whether she teeters up or teeters down. Because if she teeters down, then it's around 0.5. She is a standalone anomaly character outside of the characters of, like, you know, Yanagi, you know, Alice, Miyabi, who can technically hyper carry in themselves. Arya really it fits that niche of a hyper carry anomaly character, and she can function without any other anomaly pairing, which makes her a little bit more flexible. Yes, she can work with your other anomaly pairings, although not to the same effect as you would get if you were like to, you know, 100% push disorder. But Arya is really, really strong. And at top ends is literally one of the top 3 performing teams currently right now, as of this recording. She is just incredibly strong, and she pushes out so much numbers, especially with her blooms, especially in the stun windows, which will only get stronger with Nanggongyu. Jufufu, the Foo Fighters, huh? Jufufu, Lighter, Nicole, Trigger, and Zhao don't change. Makes sense to me. But again, Trigger stonks go up just ever so slightly because of her relevance with Arya, right? Pretty much every hyper carry anomaly team uses Trigger as either their primary or their secondary. With Nanggongyu, that's going to change because Nanggongyu will fit that premium slot, but Trigger is always the safe fallback. And with her aftershocks and her very consistent electric application, her tendency to push you into stun very consistently, strong gaze potential, great overall buffs, again, is a little bit more of an investment than other characters, still very strong. And then Zhao being up here just mainly due to her relevance as an Ether Veil activator. I'm very intrigued on why Lycon's still down here, because I feel like Lycon has the potential to go up into 0.5. Has really withstood the test of time, really becoming the gene of sorts of Zenless Zone Zero. And is that respect, you know, worthy of a placement in 0.5? Personally, I would say so. Just because that extra 30% all elements bonus is quite nice. Increased days potential, although he doesn't necessarily increase his breakpoints, but it allows you to more consistently hit said 3 stun breakpoints, because some people with again, lesser performance, will need that extra days and impact to be able to push into the average 3 stuns, if not 4 stuns. So it just makes him that much easier of a character to use and a little bit more potent, and covers the field even that much more. We'll see. Panyu is only here because he is literally the only other Rupture support. Qingyi is here in tier 1. She's still very, very strong, and you know, funny enough, we've seen Qingyi pair with Arya quite decently. It's not great, but it's pretty decent. And then Sokaku partner with Miyabi makes sense. At the bottom, things don't really change as much, so I'm not going to comment on that. So let's quickly go into the change logs. They do mention 3 characters. Ooh, let's talk about it. Arya, 0.5 in the watch list to move up. Arya is without a doubt one of the strongest anomaly agents in the game. Although she is able to outperform Alice and Vivian against current spreads of anomaly bosses, it is currently difficult to accurately assess her performance. Again, understandable, against the shill, right? There's quite a bit of shill for her right now. Once that shill wanes out a little bit, we'll still see her performance, you know? Yeah, to be honest, she's still tier 0. I'm okay with putting her 0.5, you know? She's incredibly strong though. Yeah. Arguable that she deserves tier 0 now, and then they would assess her moving down. But I feel like they want to, you know, highlight the upside of her character. So they put her in 0.5 and then probably will move her to tier 0. We'll see. In my opinion, I would actually have her tier 0 and then watch list her down, which might make a weird precedent, because understandably, like, what do you mean she might be worse? Well, that's just, again, you just gotta be wary of the shill, right? As many people are. On the other hand, the lack of strong stunner options for her and she 1 minute clears make it difficult for Arya to excel without her. I agree. Yep. Wait till Nongong Yu. And again, it's really, really tough to say, because you're basically just saying you have to have Nongong Yu. But we just also mentioned, you know, characters. I hate scrolling down. Characters like Trigger, characters like Lycon, that are great substitutes. Now, will it get you to 50 clear? No. Will it get you 1 minute, you know, 1 minute S plus 50k clear? Maybe not. You would probably need a lot more vertical or a lot more attentive investment into the characters, but still, like, Arya's damn strong. And you know, again, this is both DA and Xiu, so I can understand from that perspective that, like, without the proper team just quite yet, her potential is a little bit shafted. So some upside potential, some downside, but I like where she's at in 0.5. Yishen, tier 0 expert. Now, even with the rupture shill environment for the boss and the boss have long passed, Yishen continues to excel. Looking at previous patches, both in general and high level play, she can match or even outperform agents in their own shill content. I agree. She's the we've talked about this for months. You've heard me talk about this. This is how I dub her, the Apex Rupture character. That's what she is. If you're going to pull any of the Rupture characters, you pull for Yishen. She's the Apex Rupture character. That's what it is. She's just that strong. She's that potent. Her offensive pressure is amazing. Her defensive capabilities are amazing to convert back into, you know, again, with a lot of her abilities to parry, a lot of her abilities to iframe. It's just very oppressive. Very, very strong. And yes, just like some of you guys are noting, you can use her on the Rupture, the anti-Rupture content, aka Vesper. You can use her on Vesper. Can you use all the Rupture characters on Vesper? Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. But Yishen is just that potent, and again, with the Ether bonus, will allow you to perform pretty well. Definitely 3 stars on the content that she is most shielded against, quote unquote shield. I'm more than willing to accept an expert tag there. Again, she does require a little bit more skill in order to pilot, especially to optimize her instant rotation. Sunna, tier 0 with Arya's arrival. Sunna is no longer only the best pick for a single character, and expanding the cast she's able to work with means the partner tank is no longer needed. I agree. 2 of the strongest characters in the game right now want Ether Veil, Arya and Yeshin Guang, my wife. Although we aim not to be too reactionary placement, the consistent Ether Veil requirements for buffs across the board have allowed her to outperform regardless of direction synergies. Direct team synergies. So we believe she fits into tier 0 currently. And then Lycon watch listing up. Although Lycon's potential increase has made him a more comfortable pick for ice teams and opened him up to other elements with his potential bonus. The changes are proven not to be significant enough to warrant a placement change. As a result, remains in tier 1. He was watch listed up. I see. He was watch listed up and turns back to tier 1. Okay, so they gate kept him. Okay, so they were looking to move him up, decided not to. Unfortunate. I think he did, you know, in some instances, I think at this moment in time of this meta, I think he moves up. Maybe in the next DA, he probably moves down or he stays in tier 1. So maybe it's just easier to keep him in tier 1. But I think in this point in time, he's worthy of a 0.5 in this exact moment as of this recording. Overall, not much else movement, you know, until the new patch comes along. Outside of looking to make moves, they haven't really made moves and are pretty conservative with Arya's placement overall. Yeah. I feel like overall did pretty good. To be honest, I'm really confused on how to use Lycon right now. Well, I would love to direct you to our YouTube channel as we literally made the Lycon video. Yes, yes. Mostly because of how many teams he helps in. I've always been quite high on Lycon. Very, very happy. Both Haramasa and Lycon I'm probably the most happy with overall. With the sole exception of maybe Sambies. Sambies is quite good. But Haramasa and like I'm very, very happy with. So shout outs to the men. And then, you know, down the line, could be looking at Nekomata, could be looking at Rina. Rina especially, I would love to see what they would do to rework a support. Very intrigued. And then maybe Chingyi. Maybe Chingyi, I could see some interesting changes. Not too much. She's already pretty decent, but you know, they could switch up some stuff. You never know. But yeah, most of the reworks have been with DPS characters. Grace, Ellen, Sambi, Soldier. So very curious to see how they expand from Lycon and rework some other stunner characters. And also rework some support characters. We'll see. Do you have a video guide for Grace buff? Yes. Do I? Yes, I do. I do have a rework guide for Grace buff. It is this guide. And I technically also go over Sambi, but very, very short. Very, very short. And Ellen Jo, very, very short. Yeah, but I majoritively go over the big potential reworks of Grace, Soldier, and Bernice in this one. Josh, what's your opinion on Ether Veils? Do you think they'll try to anti the playstyle in the future updates? I'm very curious as to how they would anti Veil. Like just by like, oh, if you have a Veil, like then you know, have this nerf, which is kind of whack. Because I think the Veils have like the potential to, you know, it's just overall field passives. And I think there's more potential with Veils. So you can have like, you know, different bonuses when you have different Veils up, which is kind of cool. So that opens up the gameplay to even more stuff. Again, just like an overall field passive, I think it's cool. You know, domain expansion shit. Maybe make the Veil requirement super niche. It's not even that, because any boss like can go neutral on a Veil. Double-edged sword. So like if you get stronger, the bosses also get stronger. Maybe, but if you're doing proper gameplay, then that shouldn't even matter, right? Because you shouldn't get hurt or hit or blah, 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 XYZ. We will see. Unless they add some, like they double down and like add aspects of like sustain or needed sustain. I don't know. Yeah. One aspect that we really haven't explored or re-explored, I should say, in this game is sustain, shields, all that jazz. Which, I mean, Ether Veils kind of acts as like the evolution of what Caesar King is, right? Isn't Miasma their form of Ether Veil? The enemy's form? Kind of, yeah. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of interesting things you can do, the interplay between that, and just the expansion of veils and domains in general, like, you know, field passives. I think it's super, super fun. I think so far they're doing an okay job. Am I the most happy with this list? It doesn't make me infuriated. More so that the game's, you know, direction might make some people infuriated, but you know, hey, it's neither here nor there. So, I mean, not too many big swings here. Not doing too shabby, Prydwen. Not doing too shabby. But let me know down in the comments below what you guys think about some of the new content, about some of the new characters coming out, and if you guys are excited about them. Okay, folks. Thanks so much for watching. It's your boy Josh. We'll see you in the next one. All right.